Hello and welcome to the Capitol Report on NTD News. I'm your host, Melina Weiskup, filling in for Steve Lance tonight. Debates are intensifying over transgender sports. Republicans are backing a swimmer who was attacked for her criticism of trans athletes in women's sports, while the White House unveils a new proposal in the opposite direction. NTD's Iris Tao has more from the White House.
A record-setting swimmer says she was ambushed and physically hit by trans activists while giving a speech about protecting women's sports at San Francisco State University. Riley Gaines, a 12-time All-American champion who competed against controversial trans swimmer Leah Thomas, has been an outspoken critic of trans athletes participating in women's sports.
In addition to being forced to give up our awards, our titles, not opportunities. The NCAA forced female swimmers to share a locker room with Thomas.
After Gaines shared the alarming footage of cops hustling her to safety on Thursday night, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy chimed in on Friday and calling it an appalling attack of free speech on a college campus, adding the House Republicans stand with their efforts to protect women's sports. The latest incident comes as a slew of Republican-controlled states around the country are enacting legislation to ban or restrict trans athletes from taking part in school sports. But the White House is pushing back.
This is a dangerous attack on the rights of parents to make the best health care decisions for their own kids.
The Biden administration on Thursday proposed a rule that would change Title IX and forbid schools around the country from enacting outright bans on trans athletes competing in sports. On that same note, the Supreme Court on Thursday also refused to allow West Virginia to ban trans athletes from public schools' female sports teams, while an appeals court considers a challenge to the law. But GOP lawmakers say they won't back down. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy called the White House's latest proposal anti-women, adding the Republicans will not let administration dismantle Title IX. Reporting from the White House, Iris Tao, NTD News.
Democrats today are heavily criticizing Tennessee lawmakers for expelling 2 representatives. Many are accusing the Tennessee Republicans of being racist. Meanwhile, GOP lawmakers say they needed to preserve order in the state capitol. NTD's Arian Pazdar has the latest.
It looked like a Jim Crow era trial.
On Thursday, Tennessee state lawmakers decided to expel Representatives Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. Lawmakers also voted on expelling Representative Gloria Johnson, but she managed to stay in her seat by 1 vote. Republicans explained the decision to expel, saying it was needed to preserve order in the state capitol and not set a wrong precedent. The 3 representatives led a group of anti-gun protesters who stormed the Tennessee state capitol last week. Johnson, unlike Jones and Pearson, did not use a megaphone to lead chants during the protest. This may have been why she was spared from being expelled. However, she had a different explanation for why she wasn't expelled.
I think it's pretty clear I'm a 60-year-old white woman, and they are 2 young black men. I was talked down to as a woman, mansplained to, but it was completely different from the questioning that they got. And this whole idea that, that you have to almost assimilate into this body to be like us.
She added that she now feels like North Korea has more democracy than the United States. Justin Jones, one of the 2 expelled lawmakers, on Friday morning said he wants to continue in politics.
I mean, definitely. I think what happened was a travesty of democracy because they expelled the 2 youngest black lawmakers, which is no coincidence, from the Tennessee legislature, because we are outspoken, because we fight for our district. And I would, want to continue to do that, and whether I'm inside the chamber or outside the chamber, because what we saw in Tennessee yesterday was an attack on democracy and a very overt racism.
President Biden on Thursday condemned the expulsion, saying, rather than debating the merits of the issue, these Republican lawmakers have chosen to punish, silence, and expel duly elected representatives of the people of Tennessee. Vice President Kamala Harris is traveling to Tennessee on Friday to meet with the 2 former lawmakers. She's also expected to talk about restricting gun laws in wake of the Tennessee protests. Various Democrats took to Twitter criticizing Tennessee's decision. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wrote, "Apparently, Tennessee Republicans care more about stopping certain Democrats from speaking than they do about stopping America's kids from getting shot to death in schools." According to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, America is in the midst of a gun violence epidemic. MAGA Republicans respond by baselessly expelling legislators in Tennessee. Our democracy is under attack. Tennessee will hold a special election for the 2 vacant seats in a few months. Until then, interim representatives will fill the spots. The expelled lawmakers will be able to run again in the special election. Arian Pastar, NTD News.
China is retaliating against American organizations for continuing ties with Taiwan. A bipartisan delegation currently visiting the island nation makes clear the U.S. plans to keep supporting democracy in Taiwan. Here's a Republican and a Democrat speaking together about it today.
Today we were with the legislature here in Taiwan. It was really an honor to be able to witness part of the session, and it was not just a bipartisan group of lawmakers, it's a quadripartisan group of lawmakers. And so anytime we can do what we can do to lift democracy, that's really our mission here.
And that is the truth. We need a robust exchange of ideas. That is what democracy is about. We're seeing it here on the island of Taiwan.
Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party has sanctioned 2 American organizations, the Hudson Institute and the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, hosted Taiwan's president during her recent travel to the U.S. The organizations are now banned from any cooperation, exchange, or transaction with China. This includes Chinese institutions and individuals. Key leaders of the organizations are also personally affected. They'll be barred from visiting China, have any assets in the country frozen, and more. A Taiwanese government agency handling China relations condemns the sanctions, calling it an intimidation attempt. So how does a foreign adversary like China view current American politics, particularly concerning the unprecedented indictment of former President Trump? This topic is explored with NTD's Steve Lance and a businessman, Patrick Byrne. Here's a look.
Patrick, I want to get your thoughts. America is often and has long been looked at as a beacon of hope around the world. Not so much maybe for our adversaries. They're forced to respect us oftentimes. So how is the world looking at this, both our allies and our adversaries?
Well, I just came back from overseas where in the Gulf, the Arab Gulf, Persian Gulf, and in none of the countries I visited was there a single person who did not see first, what a hoax our 2020 election was, and secondly, did not see that the Biden regime is doing so badly, there's really a question whether they even are on our side. Like, they're doing so badly, you have to wonder, is it on purpose? Like when you see things like Afghanistan, was it on purpose, or could they really be that bad as to leave $85 billion of advanced equipment? So, nobody believes, people really don't believe he's the legitimate president.
How does a country like China view this? Is it a weakening moment for our country?
Well, I think China's what I'm most concerned about with China. So I'm quite concerned if we're going to survive. I think we're being led through a military-grade psyop with military precision, and ultimately, the chain of command is deep in the shadows. It's China, and there's all these things that we've been experiencing that seem so strange, from the reaction to COVID, which wasn't driven by science, the emphasis on vaccines, which wasn't driven by science, the reaction to the Antifa, all this domestic terrorism that gets unanswered, to a crazy election in 2020 and 2022. And now this kind of stuff. This is all part of a Maoist revolution. Maoist revolutions occur at every level of society. So they're cheating here, they're cheating here. If they're cheating the election system, they're bringing charges against anybody who says it. They're bringing charges against politicians who do anything. Any lawyer who picks up a pen to help, they discover the bar comes after them. So it's all level. It's the teachers at your grade school. It's the simultaneous all level of society at once to completely throw the population off their orientation. And then it's people, I think that they want to destroy the country in the belief that they're going to create, out of the clutter, they're going to create a new system. And that system has nothing to do, doesn't resemble anything like the system we've always had.
Patrick, specifically when it comes to the Chinese Communist Party, how are they viewing this right now? Are they seeing weakness in the United States?
Worse than that, they're seeing opportunity. They're seeing opportunity. They're never going to let Biden out before they take advantage of everything they can take advantage. This is a historic window of opportunity for them. So we're lucky if all they do is they run the tables on us for the next 19 months. We're lucky if that's all they do. I worry, and the Epoch Times published many years ago a wonderful, important leak out of China, the most important leak out of China ever, the secret speech of the Minister of Defense, Che Haotian. And it was a speech given in 2003 where the Minister of Defense explained how they were going to take down the United States of America, starting with a bioweapon, destabilize us, civil war. Basically, within our civil war, and then the cartels and the UN being given carte blanche for 3 years, we will be nothing but a husk. And then we get colonized by the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party. That may sound crazy, but that's their stuff. That's their speech. That's a book called Unrestricted Warfare by two famous colonels in China. So that's their stuff. As crazy as that sounds, that's what they're planning on doing to us. Someday I'm sure they're already laughing, like how bad did America have to get that they could even see this stuff in our Chinese national security literature, that we were doing this and America could still not orient itself to respond. It's kind of, it's not a secret. They're public about it, that this is what they're doing over there.
Patrick Byrne, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you for watching the Capitol Report. If you want to see our full broadcast, check us out at epochtv.com.